What up, everybody? Welcome back to our series on understanding core JavaScript concepts. Now, you might be watching this because you're working through CSX, that's Codesmith's free online learning platform. Definitely check it out if you have not already, or maybe you just want to learn some JavaScript. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Try not to be distracted by my adorable fall decor in the background. It is #autumn in New York, and I am living for it. Now, in our last video, we covered functions and execution context, and I lied a little bit. I told a fib. I said that in this video, we were going to be talking about callbacks and higher order functions. But actually, I want to take a little detour and make sure that you understand how to use a standard for loop. And I want to use it in my examples when we talk about callbacks and higher order functions. And I want to make sure that you're able to focus on the callbacks and higher order functions part and not the for loop part, so that by the time we get to it, you're comfortable with for loops and you know how to use them. Also, as always, I highly recommend that you code along with us, and you might need to watch this video more than once. You might need to pause it and break things down and work at your own pace as well. I also want to add we have a fantastic video on our YouTube channel called Introduction to JavaScript, Variables and Looping. Goes way more in depth than this, so I highly recommend that as well. All right, enough gabbing. Let's get loopy. Widowy. So a for loop is a super powerful JavaScript tool that allows us to iterate or loop through something that is iterable, like a string or an array. So what I mean is, let's say I've got an array called fruits, and we will add the string apple at index 0, pear at index 1, orange, and let's say banana. Whoop. Okay. Arrays are 0 index, which means apple is sitting at index 0, pear is sitting at index 1, orange is sitting at index 2, and banana is sitting at index 3. Now, a for loop allows me to iterate through this array and do something with every single element in the array. So there are 4 parts to every for loop. 4 parts to every for loop. Huh, that's cute. Okay, so the first is the initialization. So we are going to declare a variable I and set its value to 0. And I is going to be used to track every index in this array. Since we're going to be moving through this array, we're going to be looping through it, we're going to start at index 0. So we're going to set I's value to 0 to start at the beginning of our loop. Next is the condition. So this is saying I want this loop to continue to run as long as this condition is true, as long as I is less than fruits.length, okay? So I is going to start off at 0 and fruits.length is going to have a value of 4, right? Because there's 4 elements in fruits. So as long as I is less than 4, this loop is going to continue to run. And then we are going to increment I. So this part's a little tricky. It feels kind of out of order. This is going to be happening after every single loop. This is what we want to happen after every single loop. And this is the same as saying reassign I to its current value plus 1. That's the same thing. A shorthand for this would be plus equals 1. And then a shorthand for that is just plus plus. We're just incrementing I by 1 after every loop. Okay, and we'll get more into that in a second. And then the fourth part is our code block in our little squiggle daddies here. This is the part that defines what we want to happen on every single loop. So in this case, we're just gonna say on every loop, just log the current element to the console. So console log fruits at the index of whatever I currently is. So let's take a look at this. Let's give ourselves some space and break down exactly how this is going to work. Once this loop is complete, it's going to console.log completed loop. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click run code, and sure enough, we see that our loop has iterated through our fruits array, and it has logged each fruit to the console. First it logged apple, then it logged pear, then orange, then banana, and then it broke out of that loop and it logged completed loop. Sweet, all right. So let's break down step by step how this is working. At the very beginning of our loop, I is set to 0. Next, our loop is going to check is I is 0 less than fruits.length. Fruits.length is 4. So yes, 0 is less than 4. So we're going to go into our code block here and console log fruits at the index of I. Fruits at the index of I is apple, right? Fruits at index 0 is apple, so this logs apple to the console. Then I is going to get incremented. So now I has a value of 1. So our loop is going to check, is 1 less than fruits.length? Yes, 1 is less than 4, so we're going to go into our code block here and log fruits at the index of 1. Fruits at index 1 is this string pear, so pear gets logged to the console. Great. I now gets incremented again, so I now has a value of 2. Our loop is going to check, is 2 less than fruits.length? Yes, 2 is less than 4, so console log fruits at the index of 2. Fruits at index 2 is orange, so orange gets logged to the console. I is going to get incremented again, so now I has a value of 3. Is 3 less than 4? Yes, it is, so go into our code block and log fruits at the index of 3. Fruits at index 3 is banana, so banana gets logged to the console. Now we're not going to break out of our loop yet. I is going to get incremented again. Remember, that's going to happen after every single loop. So I gets incremented again, and it now has a value of 4. So our loop is going to check, is 4 less than 4? 4 is not less than 4, so we are not going to go into our code block here. We are going to break out of this for loop and move down to line 9, and sure enough, we console log completed loop. So that is basically what's happening under the hood with a for loop. Now what's really cool is there are a bunch of different ways to use for loops. You don't just have to use it this same exact way every single time. So to show you what I mean, we're going to iterate backwards now through this array. So let's start from scratch. So we say we're going to use a for loop, and now for my initialization, I am actually going to set I to fruits.length minus 1. And the reason why I'm not just setting it to the length is because fruits.length is 4, but we don't actually have anything at index 4, right? Because arrays are 0 index, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So this would cause a problem later. So we're going to set I's value to fruits.length minus 1. Now for our condition, we want this loop to run as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, okay? And again, because we're going to be moving backwards through this array. So we want this to stop once I hits index 0, because we don't have anything sitting at index -1. There's no index -1. So we want this loop to stop running once I hits 0. And instead of incrementing I to go to the right, we're moving from right to left. So we're going to decrement I each time. And now in our code block, we're just going to specify what we want to happen on each loop, which in this case, we will just log fruits at the current value of I. Oh my gosh, I cannot type. Okay, we're going to log fruits at the current value of I. And now when we run our code, see, the first time we got apple, pear, orange, banana, completed loop. Now we get banana, orange, pear, apple, and completed loop. So let's talk through this real quick. I starts off set to fruits.length minus 1, right? So fruits.length minus 1 is 3, right? It's got a length of 4, but minus 1 is 3. So fruits.length minus 1 is 3. Now our loop is going to check, is 3 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. So we are going to go into our code block and log fruits at index 3. Fruits at index 3 is 0, 1, 2, 3, banana. So it logs banana to the console. Then I gets decremented. Now I has a value of 2. So our loop is going to check, is 2 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. So we're going to go into our code block and console log fruits at index 2. Fruits at index 2 is orange. So we get orange logged to the console. Then I is going to get decremented again, so now I has a value of 1. Our loop is going to check, is 1 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. So we're going to go into our code block and we will console log fruits at the index of 1, which is pear. And then I is going to get decremented again, so now I has a value of 0. Our loop is going to check, is 0 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. It's equal to 0. So since that's true, we're going to go into our code block and console log fruits at index of 0. So fruits at index 0 is apple. So we get apple logged to the console. Then remember, loop doesn't complete yet. I is going to get decremented. So now I is -1. Our loop is going to check, is -1 greater than or equal to 0? It sure ain't. So we are not going to go into this code block here. We're going to break out of our for loop and we're going to move down to line 9 where we log completed loop. So there are a lot of different ways that you can use loops. There are a lot of different loops that you can use. And I hope that seeing this standard for loop both ways sort of helps you understand how it's working under the hood. We have your first part, which is your initialization. You have your second part, which is your condition. You have whatever you're doing here to get closer to your condition. And then you have what you want to actually happen on each loop. So let's say that I wanted to iterate through the fruits array and concatenate each string with s. Maybe, let's say I wanted to go through the fruits array and pluralize every single element. So I could say, starting from, we'll go from left to right, I want to initialize I, we'll set its value to 0. As long as I is less than fruits.length, and then on each loop, after each loop, we'll increment I, and then on each loop, I say I want you to reassign fruits at the current index to its current value plus s, okay? And a shorthand for this would just be to say fruits at index I plus equals the string of s, okay? And so what this is going to do is this is one by one going to iterate through our fruits array and concatenate every single string with s. And not only is it concatenating it with s, because we're using this little assignment operator here, it is actually changing its value, which means we'll break out of this loop, we will log completed loop, and then we'll log the fruits array, and we'll see that we've actually manipulated the fruits array. We've actually mutated it. So you can use a for loop to iterate through an array and do something with every single element in that array. And that's gonna be really useful to understand when we get to our next video, which is going to be about callbacks and higher order functions. So there's lots of different ways that you can use for loops. There are also other kinds of for loops. You may have heard of for of loops, for example, which we won't go too in depth on because I want you to explore with that on your own. But a for of loop, we use our for keyword, and then we're just gonna say for every fruit of our fruits array, do something with that fruit. And fruit in a for of loop, this is just representing the value, right? And we don't have to call it fruit, we could call it whatever we wanted. We could just call it for every value of fruits, I want you to console.log value. And what that's gonna do is it's going to log each value to the console. But because we don't have access to the indices here, this can cause some other problems. So I definitely recommend playing around with these. When you're using a loop, maybe start with a standard for loop and then see, can I use a for of loop here? Why is a for of loop not working? Why might it be working? Really explore that, and it's gonna make working with array methods like map, reduce, filter, all of that a lot easier to pick up when you get to it. All right, my friends, I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, this stuff is tricky, so if you need to watch this video a few times, that's totally cool, or check out our other YouTube videos on for loops where we break it down. Also, there's plenty of opportunity to work with loops in CSX. Again, that's Codesmith's free online learning platform. Don't sleep on it. And just get creative with them, like loop forward, loop backwards, log elements to the console, try manipulating the elements, try to swap it out, see if you can use a for of loop instead. That's how you get good at this stuff, is just by messing around with it and seeing what you can do and what you can't. All right, play around with this for a while, get a good grasp on it, and then I will see you back when we're gonna talk about callbacks and higher order functions. I look forward to more frolic and fun. Happy coding.